Yeah, I think the main takeaway was that we need each other, that we're all in this industry and business together, and that if we silo up and try to only protect our own interests and only think that everybody else is out to affect our own our interests, then we're going to be stuck and we're not going to be prepared for the future. The way that the economy, the global economy and the global supply chain has developed, there's really, at a large scale, we have to work together in order to make sure that we're ready for the future and we have a good, resilient industry going forward. It really is important because, I look back and I think about a mentor that once told me, hey, you know what the most important part on an airplane is? The one you don't have, okay? And so with that, as we've talked about, we have this really complex, highly connected, highly interrelated supply chain that all it takes is one little misstep. If you're not prepared for that, then it's going to eventually result in an impact to your, create a shortage, which then maybe create a on-time delivery impact, which will then keep the manufacturer from delivering to the airline, which then impacts the airline's economics, and then sometimes that even flows back all kinds of other consequences. So being transparent, being quick to communicate challenges, being willing to work together on overcoming those challenges is the way that we can ensure that we don't affect our businesses negatively. Yeah, well, one of the things that is beneficial about the aerospace industry is that even though it's very dynamic, when you develop a new program or a new product, it doesn't have the same cycles of change or cycles of innovation that you might see in maybe the automotive industry or even a lot of the consumer electronics industries. So with that, our partnerships they're for a long term. So you have to go into every relationship, every engagement with a supplier, and every engagement with a customer as knowing that, okay, from the very beginning, this is not myopic. This is long term. I'm going to be with you, you are going to be with me. And so ensuring that we're starting with that as a foundational viewpoint, and then applying responsible purchasing practices, and creating a level, a relationship that is founded on that trust, is how we ensure that we have a successful business going forward, or able to have a successful supply chain. I'm not so sure that it's considered advanced technologies. As I mentioned before about aerospace being slow on the cycles of innovation. Supply chain is too, relatively speaking. We are, of course, we're always looking to upgrade our ERP systems and seeing how we can add new solutions for collaboration with our suppliers, whether it be certain portals or other technologies like that. We also, at Saffron Cabin, have launched a project where we have a risk monitoring solution, which I talked a little bit about in my speech, that is intended to help map the risks, map your supply base all the way down to the bottom level, and using machine learning and artificial intelligence to identify when certain things happen throughout the world that could potentially affect your material source months, years in advance before you would otherwise have felt the effect, and be able to help prepare for that for the future. It is highly dependent on everybody being willing to engage in that, but I think that's probably one of the ways that we really need to continue to work. And of course, as artificial intelligence continues to evolve, and and the evolution of our understanding of what artificial intelligence can do, we're also starting to dabble in specific AI models to see how we can be more efficient, if nothing less, be more efficient in our communication with our suppliers around purchase order changes and purchase orders, and analyzing data that we're gathering from all of our ERPs. So of course, at a group level, being a large group, we have to not only comply with all of the regulations in the countries where we operate, but we also have to be leaders in that. And so that starts with our corporate mandates, or starts with our corporate processes, and then flows down through our group processes that then are translated through our contracts, translated through our POs. And then of course there's different tools. We are working with EcoVadis on a number of them to be able to monitor and assign risks and monitor changes in risk situations throughout the world. And then of course we have different audits that are being performed, whether it be on-site or desk audits, to ensure that our suppliers are following all of the regulations and the requirements that we're flowing down to them to be responsible citizens of the world, to be responsible citizens of the industry, and ensure that we're holding the highest standards through our supply base. Well, it's an opportunity. For me in particular, it was an opportunity to highlight a part of the Safran Group that usually doesn't get a whole lot of attention, at least positive attention, and be able to really share on what it is that we're doing proactively to be a good supplier to our customers and to be a good customer to our suppliers. And really to try to engage on even some topics that maybe are a little bit more difficult to engage on, specifically here in the U.S. You know, I touched on a lot of decarbonization, and it's a topic that I really wanted to land on, because we have a lot to learn here in the U.S. and we have a lot of catching up to do. And while Safran is significantly more, I think, advanced in this, and from an industry standpoint, especially in the U.S., I wanted the leaders in this room to understand that they haven't missed the boat, and that there's still time for them to be engaged in a meaningful way, and to really make a change.